If you feel like you have a hard time coming up with ideas, if you wish you could be more creative, or if you're stuck in an art block, then this video is for you. Hi gang, it's Nora. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to think more creatively, or just be a more creative person. And it's gonna be so much fun. But first, what are my credentials? Well, I'm not an expert, so you have to take my tips with a grain of salt, but what I do know is that I am a person who tries to be as creative as possible, in as many ways as possible. And in my life full of creative pursuits, I have learned a couple of things along the way that have helped me, and so I just want to share them with you guys. Let's go. So the first tip is to reflect upon the art that you already consume. So I'm pretty comfortable assuming that you consume art on a regular basis because the vast majority of people do, whether that would be reading books, watching movies, watching TV shows, listening to music, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, even TikTok, watching physical pieces of art. I would take a guess that you consume things very often. And this might seem obvious to some people, but I promise that not everyone does this. I want you to take some time away from your day to reflect upon art that you consume. Okay, hear me out here. In today's society, not to be that guy, but in today's society, we have such an easy access to entertainment in our phones and computers, and we just have access to everything. We like to be entertained. And so a lot of people will fill their days, their free hours, with just entertainment all of the time. They will always have something in their headphones, or always watch their phones, or always watch their computers. And it's very common today to just consume different things all of the time and never actually stop to think about what you consumed. Like, if you think about it, do you actually reflect upon the things that you see when you scroll on TikTok? Or when you see a movie? I bet that's more common, but yeah, you get the point. And what happens when we constantly consume things without taking breaks is that the brain just gets clogged up. And it's gonna be so much harder for you to push out ideas if your brain is already filled with all of that noise, right? And it's also going to be way harder for you to actually get inspired by the art that you consume, because that's a part of why we consume art, to actually come up with our own ideas as well, and not just be entertained. So, what I want you to do is that the next time you consume a bigger piece of art, whether that would be a movie, or even a song that you like or dislike, or a book, something that made you feel something, whether that would be good or bad. You don't even have to like it. I want you to take some time in silence. Okay, I know it's uncomfortable at first, but in silence, just think about the art that you consumed. And I want you to ask yourself how it impacted you. There's no right or wrong answer to this, but maybe it made you feel a certain type of way. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it made you relate, or it made you empathize or sympathize with something, or it gave you a new perspective. I don't know. Think about that. And when you know how it impacted you, think about why it impacted you that way. What qualities in the piece of art actually gave you that reaction? And this could be good or bad. If you didn't like a movie, for example, maybe it's because the acting was unconvincing, or the dialogue was unnatural. Or if you loved it, maybe it's because of how beautiful it was, or because of the amazing acting, or because of the great script, or something like that. Just think about some qualities that made you react in the way that you reacted. And just doing that will help you come up with ideas of your own and make you inspired and actually expand the way that you see art. Because if you actually think about art, the experience of consuming it will be so much better as well. You will enjoy it so much more if you think about why it's enjoyable, if you get what I mean. And you will also get inspired. Now, I know that some of you will get worried about copying things that you get inspired by, but let me just calm you down a bit, because it's very obvious when you have copied something. It's pretty hard to just copy something without realizing it, if you know what you've consumed, right? Because for something to be a copy, you have to have brought a lot of the characteristics of the art piece into your own, when in reality, when you're inspired, maybe you only take 2 or 3 of them. And you also have to remember that everything you consume goes through your own personalized lens. Okay, everything about you, your experiences, your background, your personality, your taste, colors how you experience things and how you see things. And so the way that you see something will be completely different from how I see it. And therefore, what it inspires you to do will be different than the inspiration, if you get what I mean. Oftentimes when I watch a movie, which I don't do very often, I will get this extreme source of inspiration, and my mind will just be spiraling afterwards, and I just have all of these ideas coming up, and a lot of them are bad, but some of them actually push me to create new things that I haven't before. And this is also the beauty of consuming, that not only do we get entertained and impacted in a way, but we also get this amazing source of inspiration to be creative ourselves. So just think about that for a second. Oh. Because I promise you that if you actually think about the art that you consume all the time, you will be a more creative person. Creative people do that all the time, okay? That's why they're so good at creating stuff. They understand the art that they see every day, or at least they try to understand it. It's the curiosity of it all. Be curious about art, and that will lead you very far. Okay, so number 2 is kind of on the same theme of not consuming all the time. And it's actually about being present and noticing things in our lives. So as I said, we often have like headphones in, listening to something, or we're watching our phones, or we're busy doing something. But if you actually take time to walk around and notice things in the world, you will get inspired by that. So maybe going out for a walk without headphones and just watching the world with detail and trying to see and experience as much as possible. Basically, this is what mindfulness is about. And not only is it healthy for you, but it's also really good for creative people, or for people who want to be creative, because you will start to notice so much that you didn't even think about before. And you will start to find beauty everywhere in the world, because the world is beautiful. Believe it or not, if you have been sick for a week and just inside by yourself watching a TV show to get better, you feel like the world sucks, because you haven't been outside seeing how beautiful it actually is. You have been locked up in your cage of your house and your mind and entertainment. But if you actually start to look for beauty, you will find it and you will get inspired. So for example, I really like to implement nature in my art pieces and sometimes in my writing as symbols and metaphors. And I get really inspired by going on walks and just even looking out the window when I'm on the bus. You will start to notice things that you want to make your own. And also people watching. Just observing how people act is great, especially for writers, because you get to see that natural way that people behave and interact with each other, and you will maybe get inspired to write a story about someone else. I have done that before. And it's beautiful, and it will inspire you as well. Number 3 is on the same theme as well. Who is shocked? But it's about being bored and not having anything to stimulate your mind and letting your mind wander and existing in silence. Because when you start to let your mind wander more often, you will see that it's actually entertaining. I used to be one of those people who are very uncomfortable with sitting in silence and being bored and not having anything stimulating like your phone or someone to talk to near. But when you start to take more time being bored and actually thinking with your brain, you will see that it's actually entertaining. And you will come up with so many great things just by thinking. Who knew? Who knew? Who could have guessed that thinking with your brain makes you come up with ideas? It's revolutionary. No, but actually this is real, because I saw a video on TikTok with someone, a street interviewer, being like, what is scarier than being alone with your own thoughts? And everyone was like, nothing. Nothing is scarier than being alone with your own thoughts. And I was sitting there like, what do you mean? Do you not sit alone with your own thoughts every day? Thinking, letting your mind go to places you didn't know existed before? How are you guys even living at this point? No, but I really understand you, because it's so easy to get caught up in entertainment all of the time. And it's so comfortable, and it becomes normal. It becomes a part of your day and your routine. And so of course it will feel uncomfortable to sit in boredom. I get that. I really do. But it's so necessary for your brain and for your creativity. And I really promise you that your life will start to change. So what happens when you actually just sit and think? Well, for me, it's like I start talking with myself in my brain, and like my brain has a voice, and I just start talking about a lot of different things that maybe I've experienced, or maybe I have consumed art, reflecting upon art, and eventually I will start to try and come up with ideas. And sometimes it's because you're trying to come up with ideas in silence that you do, and sometimes it just pops up out of nowhere. That actually happens to me with almost all of my art pieces, like my physical art works. Almost all of the time I just sit, and then I get the idea, and then I just write it down or sketch it down. Like, it's crazy. It's actually so weird. I don't really know how it works, but you will start to notice that your brain will just come up with things and serve you things when you sit in silence. And it's awesome. Sometimes they will be weird or stupid or bad, but it's okay. Just keep going and keep trying to come up with things, and you will find things that you actually think are original and great. You will do great things. Okay, so number 4 is when you actually start coming up with ideas, please write all of them down. All of them. I'm talking everything. Everything that your brain cooks up, you have to store somewhere. This is the key, okay? Find your notes app or a notebook. I have both. I have in my phone, I have a notes app like folder where I have song lyrics, ideas, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And a lot of them don't work, okay? A lot of them don't work. Some of them are good, but out of context, and so I have to find something else to work around it. But what I do with that is that when I sit and I write a song and I feel like I don't have anything to say, I scroll through it. I find inspiration every time. Or when I sit with an unfinished song that I'm trying to finish and I don't have anything to say, my ideas, my library with ideas, I will find things, I will pick them up, I will elaborate them. Listen, it's so important that you actually take care of your creative ideas, because it's just such a shame if you discard them when they are a possibility to make something great. You know, just because something doesn't seem amazing at first, it doesn't mean that it couldn't be. Maybe it just needs a little elaboration. So that would be my fourth tip, to just have all of your days in a place or multiple places, because whenever you feel uninspired, you can just go through them and get all of this creativity back in your life. Number 5, the final tip, is to stop chasing perfection. I know how it is. I know that it feels embarrassing. It feels bad to do something that you're not completely happy with. I get that. Like, I have been drawing since I was maybe 3 years old. And I just remember being like 11 and making drawings every day and being so sad that I didn't like them. Yeah, I remember being like, will I ever get better? This doesn't look like what I wanted them to. But the reality is that talent is a pursued interest. You know that, right? Like, that's a quote. I don't know who it's from, but that quote is so true. No one, actually, I don't know this with 100% certainty, but in theory, no one is born being perfect at something. Everyone who is insanely talented, doing a lot of great things, they started from nothing. And they had to keep working and keep creating to be better. Obviously, like, this is obvious, everyone knows this, but still, when you're the one being a beginner, you feel like you can never get better. And it's illogical, because it's just not true. It's just not true. And it's like, you just have to create. That's the thing, like, you just have to make things, regardless of if you're happy with them or not. I promise you that you will get better if you keep going. And also, I don't really think there's such a thing as bad art. I mean, there is, but not 100%. Like, you can have something to say, and you maybe don't execute it the way you wanted it to, but it still conveys that feeling or that message that you wanted to. Then that's a success. It's a success if you have managed to convey something and express something through your art. That's great. Okay, then it doesn't matter if your lines or shading is perfect in your drawing, or if your vocals are perfect in your song, or if your editing is perfect in your video. It doesn't matter. You just have to keep making things. Because life will get so much better when you create. Your mind will get freer. You will get happier. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. And it reminds me of this story, which is very famous. I feel like everyone knows this story, but I just have to bring it up because it's so relevant. Of this ceramics, is that how it's pronounced? Yeah, teacher having a class and dividing them into two, and one of them had to work on one perfect vase for like the whole semester, and the other group had to make as many vases as possible. And try to guess which one made the best vases. Yep, it's the ones who tried and just kept making them. Because you keep evolving, you keep growing, you keep learning throughout your artistic journey, whether you are trying to or not. Like, if you continue to create, you will grow. That is the way it is. Like, there's just no way you will keep being the same throughout your whole journey. And I know that very well. So please do not get discouraged because you feel like you're not good enough or not experienced enough. Like, I started this YouTube channel with no background whatsoever on how to make a YouTube channel or how to make videos or how to edit. I knew nothing. I just knew that I really, really, really wanted to create videos for YouTube because I wanted to be creative in that way, and I wanted to share things with people and reach out to people. And so I just did it. And then I figured out things along the way. And listen, I have not been perfect. I am not happy with everything I've done on YouTube yet, but I am happy that I started. Okay? And you just have to start. That is the key. Yeah. Don't be discouraged. Don't be scared. Being creative is for everybody. I think everyone has that creative spark in them, some people are just more scared to bring it out, if you get what I mean. And I promise that being creative will make your life so much better. It will make your experiences better. You will have a way to express yourself. And you don't even have to share it with anyone. Remember that. Like, you don't have to be one of those people like me who wants to share their art with everyone. Maybe that's not you, and that's okay. I do things that I don't want to share. I like to exercise, but I wouldn't like to share that with people because I don't feel like that is a part of my image in that way, you know? And they're just creating for the sake of it is beautiful. And I believe necessary. Like, whatever way you feel is the most compatible to you, do it, and you will feel better. So that's everything for this video. Thank you so incredibly much for watching, and I hope you found these tips helpful or interesting or inspiring. Yeah, you might have already heard them, but these genuinely actually work, and they make your life better, your creativity better, everything. So please take some time to incorporate some of them if you find them compatible to you. Again, I'm not an expert, but what I do know is that these really, really work for a lot of people and for me, and so you might as well try them out. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful week ahead. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you find my content interesting in some way, please consider subscribing or liking this video. If you want to, you don't have to, but I will be very grateful because it really helps me. So yeah, thank you, and I will see you shortly in the next one. Bye!